Hi, today we're going to be working with powers and exponents. So your powers and exponents. Now, for your powers, please remember that you have a base number. So for example, if you have a big 3 and you have a little 2, the 3 is going to be your base. And the little 2 is your exponent or your power. So the big number is the base, the little number is your exponent. Now, I'm going to give you a chart to hopefully help you with this process. So we're going to write powers, and then we're going to put words, and then we're going to do the math part. So we have your powers, your words, and then your math. Now, power would be an example of 5 with a 3. Actually, let's change that to a 2. 5 with a little 2. Now, in words, you would write 5 squared. 5 squared. The little 2 means squared. For the math part of that, you would, of course, have 5 times 5, because the little number, your exponent, tells you how many times to write your base. So we have 5 to the second power, or 5 squared, and that means 5 times 5. The other one you may have, how about 4 with a little 3? Well, we've got our 4 as our base number. And instead of saying to the third power, when you have an exponent with a 3, you can say that it is cubed. So 4 with a little 3, 4 to the third power, or 4 cubed. And the math part would be 4 times 4 times 4. If you have 2 with an exponent of a 4, you would say 2 to the 4th power. 2 to the 4th power. When it's a little 2 squared, 3 is cubed, but after that it's just to the 4th power, 5th power, 6th power. There's no short little answer for that. So you have 2 to the 4th power, and if you were to work it out, you would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And the next one for our chart, 6 with a 5 for an exponent. So that would be 6 to the 5th power. 6 to the 5th power. And of course, for the math part of that, you would write 6 5 times, and you put a multiplication sign between them. 6 to the 5th power. So your exponent tells you how many times that you need to write that. Now, another way that you may see powers or exponents we're also going to give you another chart, or I'm going to give you another chart. This time we're going to have exponential form, expanded form, and product. So if you'll please write this. You've got your exponential form. You have your expanded form, and then you have your product. So exponential form, expanded form, and product. And the first one that we're going to talk about, which you don't see a lot in 7th grade, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. Let's say that you had 7 to the 0 power. The expanded form of that would be nothing. You can't write 7 0 times. So you don't really have an expanded form on that. However, anything to the 0 power, the answer is going to be 1. So instead of expanded form, we're going to put anything to the 0 power. Will be 1. All right, so anything to the 0 power will be 1. All right, so let's have something to the first power. How about 8? 8 to the first power. Well, the exponent tells you how many times to write that, so how many times would I write 8? I would write it 1 time. Then, of course, I can't do a product, so my answer is just going to be the 8. Well, if you have 5 squared, or 5 to the 2nd power, you would have, in expanded form, 5 times 5. And then, of course, your product would be 25. 4 to the 3rd power, this is an exponential form. Of course, you have your exponent and your base. And, of course, in your expanded form, it would be 4 times 4 times 4. And as a product, 4 times 4 is 16. And then that 16 times 4 would be 64. 2 to the 4th power. That's your exponential form, 2 to the 4th. So you would have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now, I'm giving you different examples of how you would see multiplication. So I hope that doesn't confuse you. So 2 times 2, these two right here, is 4. And then 4 times this 2 would be 8. And then 8 times 2 would be 16. So exponential form, expanded form, and your product. And then you have 6 to the 5th power. And then, of course, in your expanded form, you would write 6 5 times. So 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Now, as your product, 6 times 6 is 36. And 36 times 6 is 216. And then if you take that and you multiply it by those 2 6's, which is 36, and you multiply the 216 times the 36, it gets really confusing. However, the final end product is going to be 7,776. So it's not 30. It's not 6 times 5. It's 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6, which will give you your final product of 7,776. I hope you understand it, and I will see you next time.